guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Happy to have you here. So in this video I'm going to talk about my first trimester recap, my symptoms, how things have been going, being pregnant while also having a toddler, and also some must-have items that I would 100% recommend to survive your first trimester. So stick around for more as I dive into all the tea. So we're gonna jump right into it. So I'm gonna start by talking about my process or my journey before even conceiving. And I think this is also gonna answer some questions about, was this intentional? And yes, it was. We definitely wanted to have kids close together. I love the idea of them being in the same phase of life at the same time. So it was important for us, for them to be able to have that. So we're gonna start here by applying some foundation first. So actually we're gonna start with primer, which I forgot to apply beforehand. And I have some high-low products. So this primer that I'm using is from e.l.f. And I also have the Milk Hydro Grip, which I really like as well. And I feel like this is a dupe for the Milk, so I try to interchange them every now and then. We knew we wanted an age gap of 3 years apart or less, and I guess that's why we started to try when we did, because we thought the process was going to take a little bit longer for us. So we wanted to give ourselves that time, because it can take up to a year to actually conceive. So we wanted to give ourselves that time to see what would happen, and it happened fairly quickly. So I think within 2-3 months of us trying, it happened. So that's actually really quick, and we're grateful for that. But yeah, so some of the things that we were also doing to prepare was by taking vitamins, and this was for both of us. We both wanted to make sure we were in optimal health, and so there were vitamins that I could take for myself as a woman that would help me in certain areas, and also for him, my husband, for things that were targeting the male reproductive system. So I can also insert that here. It is the Frida preconception vitamins, and there's a his and hers in the packet, and we took that. I don't know if I would say this is exactly what helped us conceive, but we were definitely trying to be regimented by taking that while we were trying, or even started trying. So yeah, and then some of the things that we did was like lifestyle changes, just like trying to drink less alcohol. Not that we were drinking much to begin with, but it's always good to decrease or slow down or even reduce completely if you can. So we tried that, and then working out, eating cleaner. So those were the things that we were just on a physical standpoint. And going into that, I think to go into why we were even doing all that to begin with was because of our previous experiences trying to conceive, and our prior experiences. This is essentially our 4th pregnancy, and this is about to be our 2nd child. So with my daughter, the first time around when we were trying for her, well, we didn't start by trying for her. So the first time we conceived, it was not planned, pretty much. And so when that happened, 7-8 weeks later, we ended up having a miscarriage, and that was a big shock to us because we had never been around or exposed to people who had miscarriage, or at least they never talk about it. It's such a taboo topic, or even too sensitive to even talk about. So we were not really exposed to it or understood like that it's something that happens and there's nothing we can really do, or it's not really anyone's fault and things like that. And then after that, we were told to wait in a month to like try again. So after that we had a chemical pregnancy, and that's when you get like a sort of positive test, and very early on, I think 3-4 weeks, and then it just doesn't, you end up getting your period right after, so you doesn't really continue. But it's also not really a miscarriage, I guess, I'm not sure, but they call it chemical pregnancy. And so I had that, and then after that, a few months later, we were able to conceive with my daughter. And that all of that took roughly 6 months before we were able to conceive and actually keep the pregnancy. So because of that, in our first experience with that process, we pretty much were like, going into it now, we're gonna try to like make sure we're all good, we're doing all that we can that's in our control, and leave the rest in God's hands. And that's what we did. And then outside of that, we also, well, I had a Nexplanon before we even started trying. And before I even took all the vitamins that I mentioned earlier, I went to my OB and had the Nexplanon removed. I thought that was gonna be an issue when it comes to difficulty trying. I was nervous that it would delay me, but it actually didn't. So I was very grateful for that. And then the last thing I would say that I did to prepare was basically track my ovulations, because like I said, I was on birth control, Nexplanon, so I wasn't really having regular periods or know exactly when I would ovulate. So I started birth control. Like as soon as I got off that birth control, I started to track my ovulations to actually be more intentional on when we'd actually try. So I think those things really helped in getting us to where we are now. I am currently 15 weeks pregnant. Actually, let's double check, because I don't check it as often. Oh yes, I am 15 weeks exact. And it's so shocking to me that it's already 15 weeks. I feel like it's flying by this time around compared to the first. Now we can go into my symptoms of pregnancy. And the biggest one, being nausea, and that's to be expected. And outside of that was migraines. So those were the main prominent symptoms that I was having that really impacted me on a day-to-day. And then fatigue, of course, needing to take a nap. I definitely feel like I have more energy now, so that's amazing. But in the beginning, I was definitely taking a nap a day. And so when it comes to the nausea, typically it can happen in different ways. So some people call it morning sickness because it happens for people in the morning, but in others it may happen in the evening. So there's really no set time when you'll experience it. So for me, it was literally almost the whole day. And then I would have like 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the day where I was fine. But it was like even in the morning, as soon as I woke up, I was very nauseous. And then in the evening, I was also very nauseous. So I felt like I was like going through it the whole day. But and now at 15 weeks, I'm sort of past that now at 15 weeks, and I experience nausea mainly in the evening, and not even all the time. I think it's just sometimes that I'll have it in the evening, but so much better than where I was at, which was almost the whole entire day. So I'm very grateful for that. And then of course you have bloating, and it was just extremely uncomfortable to be that bloated. And it wasn't even like just because my belly was big, it was just felt like my belly was stretching, and it was just feeling like it was being pulled apart. So that was just terrible. And then gassiness. And I started to also, I was extremely sensitive to smells. There was much that I could do. I couldn't even change my daughter's diapers. I couldn't, it was bad. And I also had a lot of food aversions. But at the same time, I was craving a lot of salty stuff. And something that was also very strange for me as well was that having aversion to water. And I'm someone who loves to like drink water all day, every day, refilling my 40-ounce cup. And the taste of water was grossing me out so much. And I also couldn't stand my prenatal vitamins because of the fish oil that it has. It was just so bad. Like I was so disgusted. And like I spoke with my doctor and I was like, I can't I have to take a break from these prenatals. And I'm starting to take them again now. But I try to take it at night and see if that helps, because I can't spend the whole day with that. Because it's like you're burping the fish oil and it's so gross and you can taste that. Yeah, not fun. So now we're gonna go into different apps that I've been using throughout this whole journey. And like some of these apps are, well, the first one is Flow. Like I mentioned before, I started tracking my ovulations, and Flow was great when it came to that. And then I think honestly Flow was the first to make me realize that I was actually pregnant when I was, and encouraged me to take a test, because it kept notifying me like, oh, you haven't logged your period, it's been this many days you're late, all these things. So yes, I really like Flow. And the other app that I was using was What to Expect. I first used that to figure out how far along I was, and I really like that for the updates, and it has nice visuals to tell you like how your child is progressing, or like the kind of developments that is happening. And so that's cool. And then the last app that I use is called Peanut, and I really like Peanut because it's great for building a community. So if you want to not feel isolated or alone in your pregnancy, pregnancy can definitely be very lonely and isolating. So finding other women who are due at the same time as you, also experiencing the same things that you are. So it was really, really good for me to log in and be able to talk to other moms, talk about how they're doing and like how I'm doing, and just be able to support each other. And so definitely recommend Peanut for that. So now we're gonna dive into some of the things that are different now for me, being pregnant with a toddler and compared to being pregnant with the first. So it's like night and day. And so some of the things is that you have more responsibilities. So before, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had the freedom to just rest after work. I could just spend the rest of the day in bed, relaxing and just like taking it easy pretty much. And now that I have a daughter, I'm like, I can't just do that. I have to actually, take care of her, play with her, and like all those things. And I can't just like relax as much. And I was able to do some of that early on in the first trimester, because my husband has been extremely supportive and like stepping in and taking a larger role, pretty much single parenting, to be honest, because I was so sick. So being able to take on all of the, because I was not feeling well in the morning or in the evening, and like during that time he would take her to school, get her ready for school. And for me, I was able to like still stay in bed in the morning, and then in the evening also like he would like feed her dinner, give her a bath, play with her, and then so also that I could rest. And I was able to still like be with them, but at just like a smaller capacity of like, okay, I could like sit down and cuddle with her instead of just like, dispersing as much energy and like moving around too much. So that was really nice. And then for pregnant with like my daughter, I had my husband was able to take on a role of like managing the house, and being able to do both now was very challenging. So it was like, at one point I just felt like my house was just becoming like chaotic because of just so much that was piling up and we weren't able to do and keep up with as much because we were so busy. Well, he was busy and I was just sick. And so now it was kind of like being okay with letting your house be a mess, because you know that one, it's temporary and this is not you. This is not, for me it was like very structured and organized. It was driving me nuts and stuff, but I had to give myself grace. I had to understand that this is like the season that I'm in right now. I know that this is not forever, and you know the first trimester is only 13 weeks that it is, and that I knew that I was gonna feel better again and have more energy to be able to do more. So giving myself grace and allowing that to be okay, that really that change of perspective really helped. But it was still not great to see your home, because like your environment, the way that it looks kind of like is a representation of how you feel inside. And so it was kind of like not helpful for me mentally, for my mental health, to just see all that going on. The other thing that I didn't do this pregnancy as well was I didn't do as many belly pictures. And it's so funny because thinking about it now, because in the first, with my daughter, I was taking pictures like every single week, like week 5 belly pics, and literally until I gave birth. And this pregnancy, I probably took, I don't think I took one. Or as the weeks were coming by, I would look at the What to Expect app, and every single week I was waiting, like counting down to the days when the week would change so that I can look at the update and what the development is and like what's going on right now. And I couldn't wait for those. And it's still like, I appreciate that I can know about that, but I feel like I just care a little bit less. And it's like, now for me, sometimes I'll just not even know how many weeks I'll forget how many weeks I really am. And it's just, that's just the nature of it. It's not that it's necessarily bad that's the case. It's just that, you know, things change based on like where you are now and how much time you have to be able to fantasize about things versus like, you know, trying to manage everything else while also going through something like that. And then, so the other big difference this time around compared to the first is how fast my belly's growing. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I didn't start showing till like really late into my pregnancy. So I realized I wasn't also letting you know all the products that I was using. So for my face, I was also using matte Maybelline Fit Me foundation, the matte poreless. And I also have my go-to one that you see running low is the NARS. I think it's something HD foundation. And then I also have the Fenty Espresso contour stick. I think that's it. And then also my go-to MAC Studio Fix powder. Love that. And I was just using a NYX micro brow print in the shade Espresso. So a mixture of high and low type of products. Yeah, and then now I'm gonna use the Fenty bronzer in Mocha Mommy. And then next I'll be using Juvia's Place Blushed Rouge, and these are the colors. So if you want to tame your blush down, just grab your the same thing you use for your powder, loose powder. Speaking of loose powder, I use the One Size Ultimate Setting Powder, One Size by something Patrick. Yeah, okay, it looks better. And then I'm gonna go in with this is House Lab highlighter in the color Raw Ember. gonna go in with that same bronzer from Fenty on my lids. And then I'm gonna go back with the highlighter from House Lab. Just put some under the brows. Okay. And then we're gonna go with Sephora mascara. It's the big definition from Sephora. This is, and this stuff like that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, why? So I'm gonna let this mess dry before I try to fix it, because if I go in like this, it's gonna make a bigger mess. So yeah, I was saying that the belly size compared to my first pregnancy and my second is so different. Like, my stomach is growing so much faster now, which is to be expected, and I don't mind at all. So with that said, so far, there's no correlation, by the way, in like belly size versus weight gain, but throughout my first trimester so far, I've gained 3 pounds. So, which is different from the first, which is different from my first time around, because I actually lost weight. So for the finishing spray, so I fixed my eye off camera that was messed up with the mascara. I just used some concealer and powder to fix it, and then now I'm gonna use e.l.f. setting spray, and I also have the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray as well, and the Milk. So this was like really my go-to, and I heard this was a dupe for it, so I wanted to try that, and like I picked this up. But yeah, just try it. So we're gonna go into the last bits that I wanted to share, which are my must-have items to be able to survive. Survive is a strong word, but to get through first trimester of your pregnancy. So the first one to start is nausea candies, and there's chews. So, but there is a specific brand that I picked up this time around. I'll put a picture of it on the screen, and I really enjoyed it. So there were times where even that disgusted me, so I would take it on and off, but it definitely helped for a while. And the next thing to help with alleviate nausea is a nausea inhaler, and I found this out, and it's basically like a same concept with when you have a cold and you have those Vicks inhalers. So this one is really mixed with natural ingredients that has like peppermint and ginger and stuff like that, so you can like stick it up your nose and inhale to help a little bit. The next one, peppermint and ginger teas. So I would mix those two and have in the evening or throughout the day, to have peppermint and ginger tea. And it was kind of, I'm a tea person, I really like tea, so it was an easy one to drink. So if you like peppermint and ginger tea or lemon ginger tea, definitely take those. They're really, really helpful. So the next one is a big water bottle. So I have one myself from Stanley, but I also have one from Simple Modern, which is more affordable. I actually prefer the Simple Modern one because it's a little bit more leak proof than the Stanley cup is. So pick yourself up a water bottle, and try to drink as much as you can throughout the day. I know it probably sucks to be able to do that. Actually, for me, I know that water was gross, but I needed to stay hydrated. So continue to force yourself to drink whatever your goal is. For me, mine was 80 ounces of water a day or something like that, but I was also giving myself grace sometimes, like I didn't even want to drink anything at all. So just do your best. And this next one I was also doing is a magnesium supplement. And sometimes, like well, naturally women tend to be deficient in magnesium, and it can also alleviate certain things like headaches and nausea, certain pregnancy symptoms supposedly that magnesium can help with. So I was taking magnesium supplements in the evening, so I was taking it kind of like a beverage. So I was mixing that with, sorry for the lighting change, I don't know what happened outside. Yeah, so I was taking magnesium supplements in the evening with tart cherry juice, and I was adding some soda water in there, and that was kind of like a little cocktail that I would drink in the evening. So definitely would recommend something like that, and it also helps you sleep better too, so win-win. The next thing I would recommend as well is taking a good probiotic, and for me that was really helpful, especially with all the bloating and gasiness that comes with pregnancy. So having a good probiotic and also just having good gut health in general is really important. So I was taking seeds. At first I was taking cultural, and for some reason whenever I would take that, it would make me want to throw up, and I don't know, my stomach wasn't digesting it well. And I've been taking seeds probiotic, and that really is agreeable with my stomach, and I just have no issues digesting it. So I would definitely recommend seeds probiotic. And all this stuff here I'll be putting up on the screen, the products I've been using, and also linking everything in the description box. The next one is prenatal vitamins, which is really important. And for me, both times with my pregnancy with my daughter and this pregnancy now, I use Ritual prenatals, and it's because of the slow release capsule. So I would recommend that a lot, and they have like the lemon flavor, which I use, and it does help. It's definitely challenging in the first trimester. Like I said, for me, the fish oil really bothered me, but as I progressed through, it's really, I think it's better compared to the other ones out there in the market. So definitely do your research and try Ritual vitamins. I'm starting to use a pregnancy pillow in the first trimester. For some reason, I was in a lot of discomfort the past few weeks, and it was really helpful for me to have the pregnancy pillow, and I ended up getting one from Freedom Mom. It's really nice and not as bulky as some of the other ones, and so I have two styles that I like. I'll show both on the screen here. There's like the one from Freedom Mom that you can loop around yourself, and there is one that's kind of like you just put under your belly, slide it under your belly only, and it's not as bulky as some of even as the Freedom Mom one. So I'd recommend both, to be honest, because as you progress in pregnancy, you just get more and more comfortable, and whatever you can do to sleep better. It can be two pillows, you alternate between, do that. Last is a good belly oil, and I would recommend to start using that as soon as possible. I know that stretch marks are genetics, so you can't really know. It's not something you can always really prevent, but I feel like having super dry skin doesn't really help either, as your skin is stretching. So having super dry skin doesn't really help either as your skin is stretching, so making sure to stay moisturized. Interestingly enough, for me in my previous pregnancy, I was using a belly oil almost like twice a day religiously, and as soon as I gave birth I stopped, and that's when the stretch marks started. So continuing that through, making that a routine. I think like the first trimester is really when you're forming a habit of being conscious of using a belly oil, and then even carrying that through postpartum period, because your body's still going through a lot. And it's important as well to keep note that stretch marks doesn't always just appear in your belly. I actually never got stretch marks in my belly, so you have to keep in mind the other areas that are growing with you. So that means your hips, your thighs, your arms, your chest. So all these areas also need to be very moisturized. I use a combination of several different oils. I don't know which really works well. I'm gonna use it all, but I'll have some that I'll put up on the screen that I use. And I also found this lotion from Jergens. It's a skin firming, so I started using that as well. And to go hand in hand with the stretching, your body growing, is collagen. So if you're a smoothie person, which I am, just try to add some collagen in your smoothie to help with that elasticity in your skin, so you can be good there. So, and then the last final item to share is a good pregnancy leggings. This is a must in first trimester. because your body is starting to, your stomach is growing. It's not necessarily growing where you have like, you're probably noticeably pregnant yet, but it's still growing where some pants that you already had are not as comfortable as like when you were not expecting, especially with the bloating too. So all of that can like bring so much discomfort, and you want your stomach to be as free as you can and just be comfortable. So there are some leggings that I have been loving, and one that has been really working for me throughout from before I was pregnant to now is these Lululemon Align dupes. So I have the Lululemon Align leggings and they're great, but they're pricey. So for the ones who don't want to spend that, there is this dupe on Amazon. I'll also link that in the description. And the waistline is so stretchy and just not compressing. So it's really good to like have something like that that can grow with you. And you can carry in different stages of before baby, while pregnant, and even afterwards. So that's been amazing. And also purchased some actual maternity leggings. I think getting them now is best because you can have them or use them for a longer stretch, versus if you're getting them during the second trimester or third, I don't know, you just like end up using it for a few months. So because you know, when you're buying maternity clothing, you don't really get so much wear out of them, I feel like, or get your money's worth, because it's only for a short period of time in your life. So I start getting things early on that I know I can grow with, so maybe like a size up from what I usually am. And the great thing too is that maternity clothing typically have a little bit more stretch to it, so even if you get a size up, it's still like it can be able to grow with you even if you have outgrow that size. So that's a positive there. But I'll do a try on haul soon of some of the clothing that I've picked up to get me through pregnancy and still look fashionable as well, because you don't want to, I'm the type of person, I don't really love the typical maternity clothing, and I like to still dress the same way that I would not pregnant while pregnant as well. So more to come on that, but those were my main must-haves while pregnant. Thank you so much for sticking around through the end of this video. I appreciate your support on and watching my videos and sticking around and growing in this community with me, and also being part of this journey with me, going through this my second pregnancy. So more to come on that, and have a blessed day. Appreciate you.